Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the explosive twists surrounding Carly Spencer's ill-fated romance with the enigmatic Jack Brennan, and how hidden betrayals could shatter everything in Port Charles. In the ever-twisting world of General Hospital, Carly Spencer finds herself entangled once more in a passionate affair with a man whose secrets run deeper than the ocean. This time, it's Jack Brennan, the charismatic leader of the local WSB branch, who has captured her heart. Their relationship blossomed gradually upon Brennan's dramatic return to Port Charles, where he assumed command of the World Security Bureau's operations. What began as subtle flirtations amid high-stakes dealings evolved into a full-blown romance, fueled by Brennan's seemingly selfless acts of assistance. He pulled strings behind the scenes to aid Carly in various personal crises, from navigating legal entanglements to smoothing over family disputes. Yet, Carly remains blissfully unaware of the shadowy web the WSB has woven into her family's daily existence, inventing new layers to this intrigue. Imagine Brennan discreetly influencing outcomes like ensuring Carly's business ventures at the Metro Court Hotel avoid regulatory pitfalls, all while concealing his organization's broader agenda that touches on everything from international espionage to local power plays. This hidden involvement adds a thrilling undercurrent of danger, making their love story feel like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Delving deeper into the chaos, Brennan's role extended crucially to helping Josslyn Jax in the aftermath of a heartbreaking tragedy. Following the brutal murder of Dex Heller at the hands of the villainous Cyrus Renault, Josslyn was consumed by grief and a burning desire for vengeance. Dex, her devoted boyfriend, had been caught in Cyrus's crosshairs during a botched confrontation involving underground dealings. Leaving Josslyn shattered and determined to uncover the truth, she sought out Brennan, leveraging his WSB resources to build an ironclad case against Cyrus. Brennan, ever the master manipulator, strategically planted evidence as forged digital trails and anonymous witness tips that irrefutably linked Cyrus to the crime, adding inventive details to heighten the drama. Picture Brennan orchestrating a secret surveillance operation that captured Cyrus's confession on hidden audio, which he then doctored to protect Josslyn's involvement while exposing the killer's guilt. This breadcrumb trail culminated in a tense showdown where Josslyn, cornered and fearing for her life, fired the fatal shot that ended Cyrus's reign of terror. Though it was a clear act of self-defense, as Cyrus lunged at her with a concealed weapon in a dimly lit warehouse, the situation was fraught with moral ambiguity. Brennan didn't stop at mere assistance. He took it a step further by engineering a flawless cover-up. He arrived on the scene moments after the incident, using his WSB expertise to erase every trace of the confrontation with fingerprints, disposing of the body in a way that suggested Cyrus had fled town, and even hacking into security feeds to loop innocuous footage. To expand on this with fresh elements, envision Brennan deploying a team of covert operatives to stage a fake disappearance, complete with planted rumors of Cyrus escaping to Europe, thereby diverting any police investigation. He commended Josslyn for her bravery and quick thinking, framing it as the mark of a natural operative. Seizing the opportunity, Brennan dangled the allure of purpose before her, suggesting that joining the WSB could channel her pain into something meaningful. Josslyn, adrift after losing Dex and searching for direction amid her studies and family pressures, was intrigued. After an intensive training regimen that included simulated missions, hand-to-hand combat drills, and lessons in deception, perhaps even a fictional boot camp in a remote facility, where she honed skills like code-breaking and undercover disguises, she embarked on her inaugural assignment as a spy, infiltrating a smuggling ring tied to Port Charles' underbelly. Meanwhile, as Josslyn delved into this perilous new life, Carly and Brennan's romance ignited with intensity. Their stolen moments, from candlelit dinners overlooking the harbor to whispered confidences in the shadows of the WSB headquarters, painted a picture of genuine connection. Brennan's charm and apparent loyalty won Carly over, especially after he supported her through emotional turmoil involving her children and ex-husband Sonny Corinthos. However, the devastating blind spot in Carly's world is her complete ignorance of Brennan's hand in steering her daughter toward the treacherous spy game. Josslyn's recruitment wasn't just a favor. It was a calculated move that exposed her to life-threatening risks, such as dodging assassins or decoding encrypted threats from global syndicates, inventing additional tension. Suppose Josslyn's first mission involves a high-stakes extraction in a foreign city, where she narrowly escapes a trap set by rivals. All under Brennan's distant supervision. Details Carly would be horrified to discover. The plot thickens now that Anna Devane, the seasoned former WSB chief with a keen eye for deception, has unraveled the full extent of Brennan's machinations. Anna's investigation, sparked by suspicious inconsistencies in Cyrus's disappearance and whispers of Josslyn's sudden absences, led her to connect the dots. It's inevitable that this revelation will reach Carly, perhaps through a heated confrontation or an intercepted message. When Carly uncovers how Brennan manipulated Josslyn into the dangerous folds of espionage, endangering her daughter's life for his agency's gain, her fury will know no bounds. Carly, known for her fierce protectiveness, will likely sever all ties with Brennan in an instant, her trust shattered like glass. But she won't stop there. Revenge is in her DNA. She might plot to expose Brennan's operations publicly, rallying allies like Jason Morgan to sabotage WSB activities, or even leaking sensitive intel to the press, turning Port Charles into a battleground of secrets and retribution. Adding creative flair, imagine Carly orchestrating a sting operation of her own, using her hotel as a hub to gather evidence against Brennan, potentially involving undercover allies from her past. In a surprising pivot, Brennan could find solace in perhaps more in Anna Devane, their shared history in the high-octane world of intelligence, marked by joint operations against mutual foes like Valentine Casadini, and tense standoffs in exotic locales, has always simmered with unspoken tension, though never crossing into romance. Now, with Carly's rejection looming, Brennan and Anna might discover a profound compatibility. They bond over tactical discussions, late-night strategy sessions, and a mutual understanding of the moral gray areas in their line of work far more aligned than Brennan's mismatched dynamic with the fiery, impulsive Carly. To invent new romantic sparks, picture them sharing a vulnerable moment during a stakeout, where Anna reveals a long-buried regret from her spy days, drawing them closer. This potential pairing won't ignite immediately. It could unfold gradually through collaborative efforts to contain the fallout from Josslyn's involvement, evolving into stolen glances and electric chemistry. Ultimately, a full-fledged romance between Anna and Brennan appears not just possible, but poetically fitting, as they navigate the ruins of betrayal together. As we ponder these developments, questions abound in the General Hospital universe. Will Josslyn thrive as a WSB agent, transforming her grief into a legacy of heroism? Or will the dangers pull her under? Just how ruthless will Carly become in her quest for payback, potentially risking her own safety to dismantle Brennan's empire? And after the dust settles from Carly's wrath, could Brennan and Anna truly forge a lasting bond, proving that sometimes love emerges from the ashes of deception? Next, we will learn about the heated family feud brewing in Port Charles, as Alexis Davis takes a stand against Drew Kane's bold plans to uproot her granddaughter Scout, potentially sparking a custody war that could expose long-buried secrets and shatter alliances. In the dramatic landscape of General Hospital, Alexis Davis is seething with frustration over Drew Kane's announcement that he's heading to Washington, D.C., and intends to take young Scout Kane along for the ride. This move would yank Scout away from the comforting embrace of her extended family in Port Charles, leaving behind grandparents, aunts, and cousins who've been her support system since birth. Alexis firmly believes this isn't the life her late daughter, Sam McCall, would have envisioned for Scoutsome, who cherished the tight-knit bonds of Port Charles and always prioritized stability for her children. Amid the town's constant chaos, to flesh out this tension with fresh layers, picture Alexis reflecting on cherished memories of Sam during quiet evenings at home, flipping through old photo albums that capture Scout's birthdays and family gatherings at the Quartermain mansion, reinforcing her conviction that uprooting the girl to a bustling political hub like D.C. would disrupt her emotional growth and sever vital connections. Alexis's protective instincts kick into overdrive, viewing Drew's decision as a selfish power play rather than a thoughtful choice for Scout's future, especially given Drew's recent entanglements and scandals that have tarnished his reputation. Desperate to keep Scout grounded in familiar territory, Alexis turns to Jason Morgan for assistance, imploring him to convince Monica Quartermain to intervene and persuade Drew to reconsider. Jason, with his deep-rooted loyalty to the family and his own history of prioritizing children's well-being, agrees to approach Monica, who sees the merit in the plea for Scout's sake. Monica, as the matriarch of the Quartermain clan and someone who's witnessed the toll of relocations on young lives, commits to having a heart-to-heart with Drew, perhaps over a tense family dinner where she emphasizes the importance of Scout schooling, friendships, and proximity to medical care at general hospitalements that have been crucial since Scout's premature birth and ongoing health checkups. Inventing additional intrigue. Imagine Monica drawing on her own experiences raising wayward sons like Jason and Drew, sharing anecdotes of how staying in Port Charles helped them navigate identity crises and rebuild after traumas, hoping to sway Drew with emotional appeals rather than ultimatums. However, Drew remains stubbornly set on his path, driven by ambitions in politics or business ventures in the nation's capital that he claims will provide Scout with elite opportunities, like top-tier private schools and exposure to influential networks, blinding him to the potential isolation she might face in a new city far from her roots. With diplomatic efforts falling flat, Alexis contemplates escalating to drastic action, weighing the option of suing Drew for full custody of Scout. She bases her case on Drew's questionable ethics, from his involvement in corporate schemes at Aurora Media to romantic indiscretions that have raised eyebrows, arguing that hauling Scout to D.C. prioritizes his career over her stability and isn't in the child's best interest. To enrich this section with creative expansions, envision Alexis pacing her law office late at night, jotting down notes on how Drew's impulsive decisions, such as his fling with Nina Reeves that nearly derailed family dynamics, demonstrate a pattern of instability unfit for sole parenting. She consults her trusted attorney friend Diane Miller, laying out the details over a confidential coffee meeting, where Diane meticulously outlines the strengths and weaknesses of the potential lawsuit. Diane assures Alexis that the case is solid, pointing to evidence like Drew's history of identity switches from his time as Jason's twin to his Navy SEAL past and how such volatility could be portrayed as detrimental to raising a young girl in a secure environment. Diane, ever the sharp legal mind, dives deeper by compiling a dossier on Drew, uncovering intel that paints him as an unsuitable role model, perhaps including fabricated elements, like anonymous tips about his aggressive business tactics that led to employee layoffs or whispers of his role in underground dealings tied to the Pikeman organization. She argues that Scout would flourish more under Alexis's steady guidance, surrounded by the nurturing influences of Port Charles, including after-school programs at the community center and bonds with peers who've known her since kindergarten. Bolstered by Diane's confidence, Alexis greenlights the custody battle, instructing her to file the papers swiftly, setting the stage for a courtroom showdown that could redefine family lines in the town. Adding inventive drama, suppose Diane incorporates psychological evaluations suggesting that Scout's attachment to her hometown routines, like weekend visits to Kelly's Diner or playdates with Danny Morgan, would be irreparably harmed by the move, strengthening Alexis's position as the more reliable guardian. The fallout hits hard when Drew is served with the custody papers, leaving him stunned and furious at Alexis's audacious move to claim full rights to his daughter. In a heated confrontation, perhaps in the lobby of the Metro Court Hotel where bystanders overhear the sparks flying, Drew warns Alexis that she's ignited a war she can't win, vowing to fight tooth and nail to retain custody and prove his devotion as a father. Alexis, unflinching, retorts that her evidence of his negligence rang from neglecting Scout's emotional needs during his political campaigns to prioritizing personal vendettas will seal her victory in court. To amplify the intensity with new details, imagine Drew storming into his office, slamming doors as he processes the betrayal, then immediately enlisting Martin Gray as his defense attorney, tasking him with unearthing every skeleton in Alexis's closet. Martin, with his sly southern charm and knack for dirty tricks, eagerly agrees, hinting at Alexis's past disbarments, journalistic scandals, and family secrets that could undermine her credibility as a caregiver. Drew escalates the conflict by playing dirty, scouring for any leverage to dismantle Alexis's case before it gains traction. He's relentless, perhaps hiring private investigators to tail Alexis and sift through old records, uncovering a trove of her missteps from her involvement in covering up crimes during her days as a Casadini to ethical lapses in her legal career that once led to professional reprimands. Martin briefs Drew on this arsenal, detailing how Alexis's history of alcohol struggles, manipulative schemes to protect her daughters, and even minor traffic violations could be spun to portray her as an unfit parent, far riskier than Drew's own flaws. In a bold twist of invention, picture Drew discovering encrypted files from a whistleblower that reveal Alexis's role in a long-forgotten corporate fraud case tied to her ex-husband Julian Jerome. Ammunition he plans to unleash in court to flip the narrative, Drew confronts Alexis directly, demanding she withdraw the suit or face public humiliation. But she stands her ground, countering that his threats only prove his desperation. The stakes skyrocket when Drew potentially stumbles upon explosive new evidence about Christina Corinthos Davis's involvement in a devastating car crash that injured Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin. This revelation, perhaps emerging from re-examined dashcam footage or a confidential informant who steps forward with fresh testimony, positions Christina as the driver responsible for the accident. A secret Alexis has fiercely guarded to shield her daughter from legal repercussions. Drew, sensing victory, could wield this as blackmail, threatening to expose it unless Alexis drops the custody bid, forcing her into an impossible choice between Scout's future and Christina's freedom. Devastated yet cornered, Alexis might reluctantly capitulate to prevent a family catastrophe, all while the truth simmers beneath the surface, risking prison time for both if it boils over. To invent further layers, envision a clandestine meeting in a shadowy park where Drew presents the evidence on a flash drive, his eyes cold as he outlines how the crashes details Christina's distracted driving. Amid emotional turmoil could lead to manslaughter charges, leaving Alexis heartbroken but compliant. As this custody saga unfolds in General Hospital, the questions keep piling up for fans. Will Alexis push forward with the lawsuit against Drew for Scout's full custody? Or will the risks prove too great? Can Drew successfully unearth and exploit Alexis's hidden scandals to derail her efforts? And might he resort to outright blackmail over the car crash secret to force her hand? Next, we will learn about the intriguing mysteries unfolding at the luxurious Five Poppies Dalmatia Hotel in Dubrovnik, where Britt Westbourne's supposed isolation might actually be a strategic bargain, rather than a forced captivity, potentially tying back to her infamous father and a desperate quest for a Huntington's cure. Nestled along the stunning Adriatic coast, the opulent Five Poppies Dalmatia Hotel offers far more than its lavish suites, and breathtaking sea views. It's become the epicenter of a shadowy arrangement involving Britt Westbourne, whose presence there hints at a voluntary retreat rather than outright imprisonment. Recent spoilers from General Hospital paint a picture of Britt not as a helpless victim, but as a willing participant in a high-stakes deal that grants her access to top-tier medical care, while imposing occasional limitations, such as foregoing a casual dinner outing under watchful supervision. This setup emerged after Jason Morgan's unexpected encounter with her at a bustling Paris airport, confirming her location in Croatia and sparking waves of speculation among fans. To layer in fresh intrigue, imagine the hotel's discreet private wing, equipped with state-of-the-art medical facilities disguised as spa amenities, where Britt undergoes experimental therapies involving cutting-edge gene editing techniques, all funded by an enigmatic patron who demands her discretion in return. Her ability to venture out independently, like that solo trip to Paris for a secretive consultation with a renowned neurologist, underscores that she's not entirely confined, but rather committed to this pact for the promise of extending her life against the relentless progression of Huntington's disease. At the heart of this arrangement lies a calculated exchange. An anonymous benefactor is lavishly financing Britt's end-of-life indulgences and treatments, in trade for her active role in pioneering research aimed at conquering Huntington's. This isn't mere charity, it's a symbiotic deal where Britt's unique genetic profile, inherited from her tumultuous family line, could unlock breakthroughs for others suffering the same fate. Fans are buzzing with theories that this isn't coercion but a choice Britt made to shield her loved ones from the financial and emotional burden of her illness, allowing her to battle the disease on her terms in a paradise-like setting. Expanding creatively, picture Britt lounging by the hotel's infinity pool during downtime, reflecting on how this isolation spares her mother Liesel Obrecht from witnessing her decline, while she contributes blood samples and trial data to a clandestine lab, hidden within the hotel's grounds, perhaps even testing prototype medications that show early signs of slowing symptom onset. Yet, subtle restrictions like being denied a simple evening meal due to a handler's vetosugist and undercurrent of control, enforced not by locks and chains, but by the leverage of continued funding, making her freedom conditional on compliance. The burning question on every fan's mind is who exactly is bankrolling this elaborate operation, and the prevailing theory points squarely to Britt's estranged and presumed deceased father, Caesar Faison, whose vast resources and history of manipulation make him a prime suspect in orchestrating her survival. Despite their fractured relationship, marred by Faison's villainous legacy of espionage and betrayal, this could be his twisted attempt at reconciliation, pouring ill-gotten fortunes into her care to forge a bond through necessity. Britt's willingness to engage in such a deal speaks volumes about her desperation. After all, tolerating Faison's involvement might be the price for a fighting chance against an incurable ailment. To invent additional depth, envision covert communications between them via encrypted video calls from the hotel's secure suite, where Faison, hidden in a remote lair, shares updates on black market scientists he's recruited, promising Britt a miracle in exchange for her silence about his fake death. This revelation would shatter Liesel Obrecht, who has long mourned and despised Faison, but Britt's survival instincts could override familial loyalties, especially if the treatments begin yielding tangible results like improved motor skills or delayed cognitive fog. Further fueling the speculation, Britt's luxurious confinement at the Five Poppies includes personalized oversight from a figure like Pascal, who ensures her regimen of therapies and rest, blending guardianship with subtle enforcement. Her recent escapade to Paris, where she navigated the city unescorted to attend an underground medical symposium, reinforces that she's not a prisoner but a collaborator, perhaps driven by the hope of funding avant-garde procedures that mainstream medicine deems too risky. The mystery overseer's influence, evident in blocking mundane activities like a seaside dinner to maintain a strict health protocol, adds a layer of intrigue without implying total subjugation. Fans theorize that only someone as obsessive as Faison would impose such parameters, viewing it as paternal protection rather than domination, and Britt might endure it if it means outrunning her genetic curse. Adding inventive elements, suppose Pascal doubles as a former associate of Faison's, providing not just medical monitoring, but also emotional support, through shared stories of past adventures, gradually softening Britt's resentment toward her father's legacy. Could Caesar Faison's dramatic return from the dead be tied directly to his role as Britt's shadowy benefactor? The idea has captivated the General Hospital fandom this week, with many convinced that Faison's survival and financial backing represent a redemption ploy, offering Britt a lifeline she'd grasp despite their toxic history. In the soap's tradition of unlikely comebacks and moral gray areas, Britt's acceptance of his help could mirror past arcs where characters compromise ethics for family or health, enduring the unendurable for a shot at normalcy. Jason Morgan's dogged pursuit of leads in Europe might inadvertently unravel the secret alliance, but it's Anna Devane, with her WSB connections and personal vendettas against Faison, who could stumble upon the truth first during her own investigations into international threats. To enhance with new twists, imagine Anna intercepting a coded message during a stakeout in Vienna, linking Faison's alias to the hotel's financial records, forcing Britt to confront whether to defend her father's involvement or sever ties. That might doom her prognosis, as Britt navigates this voluntary exile, tethered to a benefactor's whims at the Five Poppies. The Faison hypothesis continues to build momentum among viewers, raising profound questions about loyalty and survival. Will his alleged funding pave the way for a genuine cure, transforming Britt's fate from tragedy to triumph? How does the enigmatic Professor Henry Hank Dalton factor into this web? Perhaps as a rogue scientist Faison's enlisted for the experimental trials, bringing his own agenda of genetic manipulation into play. Which formidable enemy will draw Anna Devane deeper into the fray first? And is WSB Chief Jack Brennan already privy to Faison's astonishing resurrection, using it as leverage in his own power games? While some dismiss this as fanciful speculation, the fanbase is on edge, wagering that Faison's comeback is imminent, poised to resurrect alongside his daughter in a blaze of drama. Will he succeed in staving off her untimely end through his shadowy interventions? And in turn, will Britt go to extremes to safeguard him, ensuring the flow of resources that keep her alive? Share your wildest theories in the comments, and stay locked in for more explosive updates from the world of General Hospital, where no secret stays buried forever.